So congratulations from all those people at Hitbullseye and also the people who are watching us right now. So many, many congratulations.
Thank you so much. I definitely need to attribute this success to Hitbullseye and the mock tests and the preparation tips that the faculty offered. So yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you so much for sharing your success with us. But I truly believe it was a joint effort of everyone. So Mainaak, I think we can start off if you can give a little introduction about yourself.
So, like you said, I've graduated from DAV College, Chandigarh. I did a BCom, and then I also worked in a startup in Noida for about 14 months. I left my job, and then I started preparing for all these entrances, CAT, XAT, NMAT, and yeah, that's about it. I've done my schooling from the Lawrence School, Sonar. So yeah.
And I think this question is something that everyone would have asked you also, but I'll again, for the sake of all of us, what was the first reaction after getting such a result?
See, I was numb, to be very honest. For 5 minutes, I couldn't process it. It was like a huge load off my chest because even though I knew I had done well in this exam, I had my raw score and everything. But until the very moment that you get your scorecard in your hand, you just cannot be relieved and stress free. So it was a huge load off my chest. I couldn't process it for 5 minutes. I took my time to process it, and then I went to my parents and told them. So yeah, that's.
And how was their reaction?
Well, teary-eyed and proud, of course, that the hard work has finally paid off.
Great, amazing. How was the overall experience, Mainaak? Like right from the day you began preparing for the examination, and then when you actually sat for the examination, I'm pretty sure there must have been a lot of mixed feelings. But if you would just like to summarize the experience.
Well, it's tough. It's tough to prepare for such competitive exams. And in my case, my CAT exam did not go as well as I would have liked it to go. So there was this added motivation for me to, make it or break it in this one, that. So it was a topsy-turvy journey, if I may put it so, because I had put in a lot of hard work. CAT did not go well. I was demoralized, and then I had to, get back on track, tell myself that no, all is not lost. So yeah, it was quite a topsy-turvy journey for me.
Just a minute, Mainaak.
Yeah, sure.
In the era of COVID, of course, technical hassles would always and always be there, so we have to bear with them. Any which ways, let's start off again. So I understand the experience would have been different, and if I have to talk about something which was different from what you had expected on the XAT, so was there anything like that?
No, I don't think so. With the kind of mock test that I took and my preparation, I did not feel there was anything that was unexpected in the exam. Although I do believe the decision-making section was rather tricky, but that's what makes the XAT exam different from all other exams, because there's this extra section of decision making, and it's always tricky. You will always find two options that are super close to each other, and you just have to go with your instinct and the tips that the teachers gave you while you were preparing. I think
Please.
you're
Yeah.
mute. Yeah.
If I have to talk about the strategies, Mainaak, what did you adopt?
My strategy was quite simple. See, the syllabus is mostly covered when you're preparing for CAT, right? So There's hardly anything that's left to prepare as such. So it was all about taking mock tests and analyzing everything that was going wrong back then. You know, take a mock test, analyze it, uh, see where you're lagging behind. Of course, the decision making section needs a little bit of preparation, which you don't do before these otherwise, for any of the other exams. So just took decision making tests and a lot of mock tests, and the analysis of those tests is like very important, because if you're just taking mock tests, it won't help. You need to analyze, you need to figure out what are your weak points and work on them simultaneously.
Before moving to the individual strategies, how many hours did you study in a day?
I am somebody who does not put in a lot of hours, to be honest. I find it very difficult to sit and study for long hours. But since my previous tests did not go well, I had to push myself, and it was about 6 to 7 hours of serious studying, I guess, with breaks in between. Definitely, I cannot
Of
sit at a
course.
stretch. Yeah.
6 to 7 hours is huge, but and did you divide your time while you were studying? So how, like, did you pick up just one subject in a day and started covering all of it?
Personally, I was a little bit weak in the quant section, so I focused a lot more on that. Thankfully, my verbal ability and everything was pretty much sorted. I did not worry about that section a lot. Decision making and quantitative ability were two areas where I worked more, and quant being the most if you rank it, because I had this inherent, weakness with typical math questions. So I had to put in more hours for that.
So did you start off right from the basics, or did you just adopt all those formulas and got to?
No, since I was preparing for like 6 7 months, and already CAT and NMAT were done, so I didn't have to start from scratch for that. Of course, I had some basic preparation, but I had to still focus a lot on quant and brush up everything. And practice is all that you can do. Whatever kind of questions you're not getting right in the first time, you just need to pick up similar questions and keep trying to do it, and that's how you get through.
When did this idea of pursuing a B school landed up with you?
I think it was pretty clear to me while I was in graduation, the career path that I was going to be on, because what I have always thought. See, we have a family business. My father is into construction. We have a business, but I was very clear with my thought process, because I thought before I can give orders to somebody and lead a business, I should be able to take those orders and do the stuff myself. So I was very clear that I wanted some experience in the corporate world, and an MBA from a good B school seemed like the right path to me, right from the right from when I was in graduation. So yeah.
And did the leadership quality actually get imbibed while you were working at, I think, the job that you had taken?
Yes, of course. And in fact, the leadership quality aspect was imbibed in me back in school, because I went to this boarding school, the Lawrence School, Sana. It's one of the finest schools in the country. And see, they instill this kind of quality in you. In a boarding, anyway, things are much more difficult than in a day school. You have to survive. It's like the survival of the fittest. You have to fit in. So I think that got imbibed in me back in school. And of course, while I was working, it was a different ball game altogether. The corporate world is very different. And since it was a startup, it involved all kinds of work. I had to lead, I had to follow suit as well, follow the commands as well. So yeah.
Amalgamation, yeah, of course, the corporate world definitely gives you so many positions. At a certain point of time, you can't even decide which position are you at.
Exactly.
I can, all of us can totally relate to it. Any which ways, did the lockdown have any impact on your preparation?
See, the only impact I felt was that we could not attend as many offline lectures at the institute as we would have liked. A one-to-one conversation with a teacher when they're right in front of you creates a whole lot of different impact than seeing them on screen and chatting and raising your doubts on a chat platform. So that was the only thing that I felt was impacted during the lockdown and COVID scenario. Otherwise, it was all good.
But then you scored well, so I think that all got reimbursed at the end.
Yes, yes.
Anyways, and let's talk about the individual strategies that you took for the different sections.
So I don't have a particular strategy as such. It was about I focused on giving full length mocks more than focusing on a particular section. But like I said, I had to focus on quant specifically because I'd seen through my mock test and my CAT and NMAT test that there was this area of weakness that I had developed. So I had to take a few sectional tests with quant and decision making, of course, because it was a new section. So just taking 3 hour mocks wouldn't be enough because how many 3 hour mocks can you possibly take? Given that the XAT exam is a 3 hour exam. So I had to focus separately on quant and decision making, a few sectional tests there. And yeah, that's about it. Nothing specific when it comes to sectional preparation.
And how did you anything about the vocab that you had done?
Oh, of course, vocab. I had to do a lot of reading. I am not an avid reader. I do not like reading. So I had to push myself to start reading the newspaper, pick up a few books. And of course, the Hitbullseye Bullword book helped me a lot. Went through all the word lists, noted down the words, and went through. I basically noted them down in a register, and I used to just before going to sleep, or I used to tell my friends to just ask me. I sent those word lists to my friends, and I used to tell them that whenever I talk to you during the day, ask me 5, 6 words so that I can memorize them.
I believe that's a very new strategy for all of us, asking our
Yeah.
friends to,
This is one
question.
thing. This is one thing I would like to suggest to all the XAT or CAT aspirants that the one good way to learn new words is just share your word lists on whatever vocab you're noting down with your friends, your family, and just tell them that whenever you guys speak on the phone or whatever, tell them to ask you what does this word mean, what does that word mean, and that I think that's a very good strategy to memorize, the vocab part.
Truly, I mean, we did think about peer to peer, questioning, but then doing it this way is definitely enthusiastic also because then they'll be very hyperactive in asking you questions any which ways. So brilliant idea. I think all of us can adopt this very soon. Apart from this, like when it comes to the entire decision making section, what would your advice be on that?
I think there are a few pointers that you must keep in mind, which are given to you in your lectures, the Hit Bullseye lectures for decision making. The teachers gave us a few pointers that, like, these 3, 4 things are what you need to keep in mind when you're attempting, because we tend to get taken away with the option that feels right to us, but we need to take in account that we need to follow the ethical part, and then there are 2, 3 more rules that we need to follow. And once we amalgamate our instinct with those 3, 4 rules, we get the kind of accuracy that is needed.
Yeah, because this is one of the sections which is a little different
Yeah.
when it comes to the other examinations. And this year, of course, the essay also was introduced almost 3 to 4 days, probably a week prior. So how was your essay? Were you happy to
Uh,
see the questions?
it was stressful, to be honest. The fact that it got included only 3, 4 days before the exam, I was really angry and irritated that what is this? When do I get to prepare and practice for the essay and everything? But then again, I think it's all about being in the moment. just reading the topics, and whatever comes to mind, just pen it down, just type it. So I didn't get to prepare for the essay writing, to be very honest. And I just packed myself and my knowledge that, okay, whatever comes, and I'll just tackle it right there. So I would have a lot of tips to give about the essay writing part, because I really did not prepare for it. But it did go well, because I think my question was related to, how the criteria for B school selection is not that great. It stresses on the academic excellence part, and that's how we're getting subpar managers. That was my topic. So I just gave an example to, I was against the topic in my essay. So I gave XLRI's example, that no, things are surely changing, because XLRI has included this decision making section, which is totally new, and it really tests the core skill needed to be a good manager. So it's not just about academic excellence. So I feel my essay did go well after all. We'll find out.
We'll find out pretty soon. And apart from all these, was there anything which was different from what you had expected? Like when it comes to the entire question paper, like you might have made up your mind that exam में ऐसा कुछ होने वाला है, and वहाँ जाके कुछ अलग से ही मिला हो.
No, I don't think there was anything of that sort. In fact, I felt the quant section was slightly easier than what I had expected. So that was it. All the other two sections were pretty much on the lines that I thought they would be. But the quant section certainly was slightly easier than I had expected it to be. Maybe because I put in extra effort for quant and everything, and I was scared about the quant part, I felt it was easier. Maybe because of the extra preparation that I put in.
So any exam day strategy that you would like to share?
I think the most important aspect is to be stress-free on the day of the exam. I can give you a very good example, because I messed up my CAT exam just because of the fact that I was stressed. I had prepared well. I knew stuff. I could have done much, much better in that exam as well. But just because I was stressed, and just because one of the sections did not go well, I messed up the entire exam. So the important thing is to be totally stress-free on the day of the exam. Do not think about anything. You've done your bit up until the previous day. On the day of the exam, just get enough sleep and be stress-free, and just go to the exam center without any, stress of any kind. And even if a section does not go well, it's easier said than done. But try and try to not let that section affect the rest of the exam. I could not do it in the CAT exam, but I think I did it pretty well in the XAT exam, because in CAT I messed up a section, and then that impacted the entire test. I was like, totally freaked out that, well, this did not go well. What will I do now? And it's everything happens very quickly in these tests. You do not have time to ponder upon something that went wrong. You just need to move on. So that's about it, about the exam day strategy. Just be stress free, be relaxed, trust your preparation, and yeah.
So I think this happens a lot, that if one question, or specifically when it comes to an entire section, when it goes off, so we usually tend to stay in the hangover of it and ruin the other sections as well. So please don't do that. All those who are watching, this is something to really pick from his experience. Apart from these things, Mainaak, when it comes to mocks, do they play a vital role in shaping the test score that you have received?
Well, of course. Mock tests are the absolute necessity when it comes to preparing for these exams, because you get to be that under that time pressure that you're going to be in the actual exam. So I would suggest take more full-length mocks than sectional tests. Of course, sectional tests are important as well, but the kind of role that the full-length mock test will play, that's irreplaceable basically, because the same kind of time pressure and, of course, the difficulty level and everything. So you need to take a lot of full length mocks in order to analyze, because while you're preparing, you still have time to fix things. So if you don't take full length mocks, you won't know what's there to be fixed. What exactly is it that you're encountering? The kind of problems that you're encountering. What section is taking how much time for you? Although the time limits are fixed in these tests above with the sections, but still you will get a hang of how many questions are you able to attempt in that given time limit, and do you need to speed up? Do you need to change your strategy of attempting the questions? you know it is different for everyone. Some people like to go through the entire section first and then start attempting. Some people like to attempt the easier ones first, leave the difficult ones for the later. So all that you'll only be able to figure out if you take those full length mocks. So of course they play a very vital role.
And how was the GK section? This is one of the biggest challenges of many students.
It was good. It was good. The GK snippets from the Hitbullseye platform really helped me, because they're in a very concise form and all the latest affairs, current affairs are there. I think there's no set strategy to prepare for the static part, because it's a vast category and you possibly cannot prepare for it. But I think we should just focus on the current affairs part and brush up everything that we can from the past 4 5 months, everything relevant. Um, I can only say that a platform like Hitbullseye really helped me, because the GK sessions that were taken, uh, 4 5 questions were directly from that. You know the the faculty sharing the snippets that, okay, this is important and this might come in the exam. And I was surprised to see that 4 or 5 questions were directly from the lectures that I saw maybe 2 3 days back. So that really helped.
So definitely, I'm glad that you remembered, because a lot of times that happens, that you remember the time when the faculty was explaining, but you don't really remember the answer to the question. So I'm pretty much glad on that part. And are you right now preparing for the GDPI?
Yes, I am.
So I hope your preparations are going well on that. Anything that you would like to share?
No, nothing yet, because I haven't gone into full blown preparation for the GDPI part yet. I was out of station and everything, so I've just gotten back. From today, I will be sitting and fully, starting the GDPI preparation. But again, it's very important to read the newspaper for the GDPI part. You need to be up to date with everything that's been happening in the past 6 months or a year, everything relevant to your field, uh, finance, economics, the Indian economy. All of that needs to be on your tips. And I feel the institute that you're appearing for example, you're appearing for an XLRI interview, you need to know the A to Z of what that institute is all about. Who's the dean, who are the important people, what's the history of the college, and all that stuff. So yeah, those are the basic tips that I can think of while preparing for a GD or PI.
Yeah, those basic things we really need to know about the institute as well. Apart from the GK, GK is of course something that everyone has to do. But then wherever you're going to whomsoever you're speaking, you should know all about it.
Yeah.
Any parting advice to the current XAT aspirants, XAT and the CAT aspirants?
Well, I can just say that keep at it and do not lose hope if anything goes wrong. I can say that because I lost hope after CAT. I was like, I've invested 6 to 8 months of my time, and what is this? What's happened? And when you read online, you find out that that is slightly tougher than CAT and everything. So I was really demoralized that if I couldn't do well in CAT, what am I going to do about that? But you have to, reset and get back on track and keep at it. Just keep at it, practice a lot, take a lot of mock tests, and just be stress free on the day of the exam. I think that's the biggest advice I can give from personal experience. Do not be under any kind of stress on the day of the exam. Do not let your mind play games with you and spoil your entire preparation and hard work that you've put in.
So one line that you just mentioned that you've read, that XAT is definitely tougher than CAT. Do you think it is now?
Well, I think the decision-making part being there makes it slightly tougher. This year, I did not feel it was tougher than CAT because, like I said, I found quant to be slightly easier than I had expected. So I think it was pretty much at par this year, at least.
Great. So thank you, Mainaak. Thank you so much for giving us so many wonderful insights about the XAT examination, about your preparation, about your strategies. On behalf of the entire team, again, I'd like to congratulate you and all the very best for all the future calls that you will be receiving. I'm pretty
You
sure that we are going to be having one more session with you majorly soon, months after you get all your calls. Right?
done, man. Thank you. Thank you so much. It
Thank
was
you so
lovely
much
being
for
here.
being here. Likewise, likewise.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.